Libra, this is your February 2022 soul story. This month, negotiations are underway for something brand new to come into your life. This is Romy. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we're going to give you some key astrological dates and intuitive messages that will hopefully support you to navigate these next few weeks. So we're coming into February energy, Aquarius season, and we're going to be opening up the month not only with a new moon, but also the Chinese New Year, welcoming the Blackwater Tiger, and the auspicious 222 portal on the 2nd of the month and also the 22nd. So very deliberate, intentional energy, supporting that feeling that something fresh, something invigorating, something very different is on its way. Now, if you are experiencing an imbalance in relation to that, and there's that energy of still feeling like you're a little bit pinched off, then I need to remind you that, the magic is patient, Libra. So no matter where you find yourself, it's going to wait for you. It's going to be there for you the minute that you come back into alignment with yourself and you're able to re-engage. But for some of you, you're already starting to feel that energy. And we have the Six of Pentacles, and she's all, in this beautiful meditative pose here, juggling these coins around her, trying to make sense of what the right order of events needs to be. And I suppose I really want to give you that message very powerfully this month. You know what's best for you, Libra. And February is a time when you've got to be your own teacher. You've got to be the educator, because what you're doing is redefining so many of your comfort zones, opening up to things that you perhaps never thought were going to be on the horizon for you, or even possible, or a potential. And that can be a really liberating experience, but it can also be quite a challenging one. Now, we are working with Mars in Capricorn energy in February, and a fellow cardinal sign, you really appreciate the value of that initiatory feeling to just strive ahead and move forward. Now, the Six of Pentacles is saying we're wanting you to be in an energy of receiving. So yes, it's a month for doing, and you're going to get really focused about that with the stamina and the endurance and the tenacity. Particularly if you've been feeling like that deep sense of inertia or overwhelm in these retrograde energies. And part of that decision-making process, part of perhaps the negotiation or for what this new life or new pathway is looking like, may mean a moving away, a cutting ties, a walking away, a release in some form or another. And this is about the next phase and taking it to a whole new level for yourself. Now, Venus, of course, now direct, your ruling planet, so you will have been hit quite heavy with that rebirth energy in the last few weeks, especially how Venus was working with Pluto. There was kind of nowhere to hide there, so we were really getting the opportunity to revisit on a very deep level how we value ourselves and the way in which that's, flowing out through our relationship to money and abundance, and particularly in love relationships. Now, on the 1st of the month, we also have Juno, the asteroid goddess, shifting into the sign of Aquarius. And here, she's really helping you to look at how you can bring about more personal freedom in those personal and professional partnerships. Perhaps you're feeling the need for more radical authenticity with yourself, and that really needs to bring oxygen, and you need to feel like you've got space to breathe. You may even have a departure. Now, I feel that there could even be negotiations around divestiture or, investment or resources, as I'm looking at that as well. And what we also want you to remember is that this is a month where I think you're going to have to sort of have this delicate balance between being really courageous or moving into energies that at times feel very self-destructive, because you're going to be understanding your patterning and your compulsions at a much deeper level than you ever have before. And there'll be times when the ego just wants to keep you in the comfort zone. But there's something about the filters being really removed this month. You know how when you're working on social media or you're doing kind of work with images and you have all of those beautiful overlays that make everything look so pretty and perfect and completely transform the truth of them? It's like that was the spell that we had with both Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde these last few weeks. And all of that spell now broken, you're seeing the true nature of things, and it's like what you want is actually the realness, flaws and all, because that's where you can find a deeper sense of acceptance in yourself. And so, whatever the stage you are at, there's something about the encouragement of don't go seeking for validation, don't go back into the addictive tendencies, like make the difficult choices, and step up into that energy that's sort of waiting for you to really start to negotiate things on a much better footing for yourself. I want to say to you, don't feel like you're going to be backed into a corner. It's an illusion, okay? Keep that in mind. Now you've got the Moonchild, which is a different bonus card in this particular deck, and she's looking really purposeful here. There's something very celebratory, something very about sort of specific rites of passage. I feel like there's a beautiful blessing here. There's wisdom to be tapped into, and it's not really anything that anyone can tell you or share or impart to you. And of course, people's stories are important and how they've been through what they have, and you can kind of take some gentle understanding and inspiration. But ultimately, I think that there's something about this month of February, and a little does go a very long way this month, where you just need to be feeling like I'm in control. I'm the one that needs to say what the next step is going to look like for me. And there is this sense of it really feeling like you're starting to reshape things because you're taking yourself and your life more seriously than ever before. So we're also going to be welcoming some auspicious days that I want you to look out for around the 4th. Mercury will have shifted direct on the 3rd, which is wonderful. And then we have Mars sextile Jupiter and the Sun conjunct Saturn coming in at that time. And it just feels like there's more of that impetus, there's more of that sense of readiness to make changes and really to feel like you're doing it in the right way for yourself. You may even come back to something and now know what you know, and you're going to make it even better. And I think there might be some sense that's made from you as well about perhaps why something went in a particularly wonky or haywire sort of detour. February is one of these months where you're going to be like, oh, right, okay, that really now makes a lot of sense as to why that's happened. And again, I think that should be quite affirmative and give you some courage and confidence. So your Knight of Wands could be a fire energy, Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries. And it really is about this sense of feeling like there's an urgency, there's news, there's messages, there's information that is traveling towards you, but also that you want to take out to the world. So this bodes really well, especially as we work our way into Pisces season. That's going to be 6th house energy for you. So the way you need to be of service and how you're showing up in the world. But ahead of that, as we've still got this firm focus around your creativity and 5th house energy during Aquarius season, I feel like you're still kind of nourishing things a little bit behind the scenes and taking some time to be with the people or to spend time on the things that are really important and mean a lot to you. Now, the Knight of Wands suggests to me again that we've got something that needs to move, because there's always like really powerful movement with that energy. It can be a little bit inconsistent, so you might also be coming up against somebody, especially with that 6 of Pentacles, that's sort of giving in one hand, taking in the other. And so again, there's some, I think, requirement on your part to put some firmer boundaries in place for yourself through the course of this month. You do know what's best for you. The questions I need you to keep asking over and over again is, does this feel like it's coming from a place of love, or does this feel like it's coming from a place of fear? Is this something that's really creating a sense of unity for me in my life and with the people who mean to me so much, or is it pushing divide and division, separation? You got to really start thinking about things from these terms, because this is what's going to help to support that sense of balance with your own peace, so that you're not constantly stepping into an upheavaled, chaotic timeline with somebody who's intent on misunderstanding you and actually, most importantly, misunderstanding themselves. Now, we do still have the shadow energy of both Venus and Mercury playing out through the course of February. So even though we've got this sort of floodgates of opened and you are going to be repairing and rebuilding and really starting to embody the wisdom of so much of what you've learned, you're going to get these little like wild card moments where it feels like it's flinging you back, or there's still a few things that kind of catch you unawares, that feel like a little bit of a sting in the tail. But overall, the balance is starting to come much more into your favor as you really let go of old values that no longer serve you. Now we have Ceres, the asteroid goddess that's connected into the cycles of the earth, also moving into Gemini, helping you to nurture your higher mind. It's an air sign energy, so that's going to work favorably with you. 10 of Wands, it also shows and will indicate, I think, where you need to let go or release the burden or the pressure that you're putting upon yourself because of your feeling or your expectation that you have to be somewhere or have achieved something by a certain time. Now, Ceres and Gemini is all about people's stories, both our own and others. And so the dialogue that wants to come front and center stage here is one that's on a deeply healing basis of us really starting to see, you know, can we put ourselves in their shoes? Like, do we understand why they're behaving, why they're saying the things that they are? And so with the 10 of Wands, there's a little bit of like the martyrdom energy. You may be experiencing that from somebody around you, or even you yourself are sort of tapped into that a little bit, like, I have to do it, I have to take this on, I can't say no, I have to keep going. And again, there's this invitation that says, okay, is that your default comfort zone? That I'll just play that particular role because that story's been weaved into me so intrinsically through my upbringing, my conditioning, perhaps, you know, the ancestral energy that I'm tapped into. So there's a pattern interruption that can happen through the course of this month that is needed, because you're going to be trying to figure out if things are a good match for you vibrationally or not. So you need to understand what you're projecting and what you want to release so that you're coming at it from as clear a lens as possible. Yeah, because otherwise you're going to be kind of just bringing more stuff to the table that's not necessary. And that negotiation that I see emerging may already be underway for some of you. But your preconceived ideas and the way that your story's been unfolding for you is going to make a big difference. And that 10 of Wands says something we need to let go of. Because even if you look, those Knight of Wands, they're not actually moving. Now, typically in the Knight of Wands depiction in the tarot, we see him sort of charging in on the horse. And so the fact that we have two figures here actually looking in opposite directions. So again, there's a bit of a stop-start energy. And you may feel a bit stuck in relation to something, but knowing that you have to let go and you have to move on. So this is why it's really important to keep this in mind. So we've got the energy of the moon coming through right beneath the Moonchild. So the lunar cycles here are very important. Now we've got a Leo full moon coming in this month. It's happening on the 16th. And there's beautiful creative energy here for you to tap into. Again, this is something that's happening behind the scenes or very close to home. So even though you may be deriving from groups or other individuals or people around you, things that can help support you, ultimately I feel like you're the one that needs to make the final call or the final decision on what's going to be the right way forward, or something that you can truly say, yes, I'm ready to invest in this. Now, there's always a little drama that comes around with a Leo full moon, because people want to be heard, they want to be seen, they want to take center stage. So the egos tend to get a little bit more overinflated. And with the intensity that comes with that, sometimes things can get blurted out. That's going to be an interesting one. So you may well find that people who have been trying to keep something on the down low end up sort of really revealing all to you. So that could be a really illuminating experience in terms of seeing truly what people think or where people are in relation to your presence in their lives. And I think that's good, because this month there is this overall feeling about us being able to face things that we've never been able to face before. And sometimes when it's difficult, perhaps for whatever myriad of reasons, for us to be able to express how we truly feel or what we truly think about a situation, the universe steps in these kind of fated ways and just creates certain experiences where that information is brought to light, because it's for the highest good of all, to enable people to move forward. So remember, it may be you or it may be coming towards you that there's a bit of a reveal that comes on and it just feels like it's blurted out. It doesn't have to be negative, but I do have a few raised eyebrows that are showing to me. So I think that information could be quite interesting in terms of how it's going to help to fuel some of those decisions you're making, and also be part of the negotiations. In some ways, I think it could be strengthening your position, is what Spirit is showing me. And remember, 5th house energy, we're also focused upon, you know, romance and the family, and with Venus now direct, there should be improvements around what's happening here, and perhaps some difficult situations that needed to be brought to light. The 3 of Swords is very clarifying, you know, it brings forth the ultimate truth. There's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. Remember what I said, do not feel like you're being backed into a corner. You're not. That's an illusion. What you're really experiencing is the ultimate truth, this lens, this sort of overlay and filter being removed, and it's almost like you're starting to I don't know, it's quite transcendental. It's like it sort of takes you into a completely different, altered way of thinking, perhaps tapping in, spiritually speaking, to a very different kind of energy. Now, yes, there may be an upset that's coming. It may well be connected into a fire energy. We also have strong Pisces link with the moon, but that could be taking us into Pisces season. That's going to happen from the 18th. I also want to remind you that Pallas Athena, the asteroid goddess, shifts into Aries on the 14th. Now here she brings her wisdom, and she'll help you to discover a new strategy that will come from a place of deeper discernment, but it comes fast and it comes quite urgently, and again it comes from quite a motivated, pioneering kind of a feel. So she's not going to allow you to sit too long in the upset of what that 3 of Swords. It's almost like we'll turn our pain into power. So from the 14th, if there's anything going on in and around that time that feels like it's quite painful or upsetting for you, you're going to be able to use that as a fuel to kind of get you to the next step or the next stage. And remember, like I said, a little is going to go a really long way this month. It's important that you lean in, feel it all, you know, don't be afraid, don't be frightened. Mars in Capricorn is not going to let you falter at this point. It's going to keep that drive and energy. So the momentum is not lost, but you still need to acknowledge what the emotional experience is, because it has something really valuable to teach you. You're taking yourself more seriously than ever before, and therefore that requirement to accept that even though something is really painful, you can also acknowledge that it's probably for the best, or it's what was needed, even if it's not necessarily what was wanted, right? But this overall energy of February is about moving you forward and giving you an opportunity to negotiate something on better terms for yourself, Libra. So when we think about that personally, professionally, romantically, you know, there are changes that perhaps have to come into effect. And, you know, sometimes we can delay and delay and delay. And there's always a cause and effect to that if we're trying to do it to others or if we're trying to do it to ourselves. Your shadow work here is coming through with the illumination of that. You've been working on those blind spots. But ultimately, they will reach a destined point, you know, that will emerge from your soul contract that says this is where you're supposed to be at this point in time. And if that hasn't occurred or happened, then the universe will move mountains to get you to where you're supposed to be. So you're going to be looking and observing at that experience all around you and within your own pathway right now. And it may feel kind of extraordinary at times, you know, through this month of February, as you just witness people falling away, new people coming in, like things happening at warp speed, or making decisions more quickly and more decisively than you ever have before. This is you really starting to come into a deeper sense of understanding about what this year and the shift in energy is actually going to feel like on a very personal level to you. Yeah. So we also have, just after that full moon, Jupiter sextile to Uranus, and here there is a deep need for personal freedom, but there's rich expansion and kind of treasure to be unearthed here, and it may come in really surprisingly. And it feels like it's also got that energy of things expanding very, very fast. And remember, it's off the backdrop of that full moon Leo, which again is about, you know, the front and center stage. Now, Leo also rules 5th house, which is what we're working on in Aquarius energy. So you've got that like double emphasis going on behind it. Now we've got 3 of Pentacles coming through here in this beautiful circle. The support coming through, and it's almost like the amplification or the channeling of something that I feel at some point through the month you'll want to initiate energetically, is going to be very supportive in this kind of collaborative and creative space. And from this, I think you get really, really clear on something that you know has to be a part of your life. And it's almost like I've got you saying, do you know what? Like it's just there's a non-negotiable aspect to this. I need this. I need this for me. I need this in my life, and this is how it's going to be. And we want that assertiveness for you. We want you to feel that sense of control and empowerment in your own ability to kind of exercise your own sovereign rights. Like, it's really, really important. So let's have a look at the oracle cards and see how they want to reflect the energy of this tarot spread for you, Libra. Be authentic. Yeah, I think we talked about that with Juno and Aquarius, and really this aspect of there is a deeper requirement on your part, even though you may be seeking to strengthen partnerships and connections, and there's definitely a desire to form more solid unions and, coming into a place of deeper unity with people in your life. But at the same time, it can't be on any other terms than allowing you to be who you truly are, emerging into who you want to be. And there's no compromise that would be acceptable to you if that isn't on the table. Yeah, it's really important. We've got her hair here just so long, and it sort of indicates to me the wisdom that you're bringing to so many situations. We've also got a lot of birds flying above her crown chakra here, so there suggests to me a lot of messages, not only coming through source, coming in psychically, spiritually for you, but also news and messages that are on their way from other people seeking you out, or you seeking others. And I think that's going to be very valuable as well. You will feel like the universe is sort of putting you in touch with exactly the right individuals to support you being of service. Now remember, 6th house also wants you to really take care of your well-being. Everything needs to become a devoted practice, where you're really showing up in that state of presence, and that can really help as well when we talk about the idea of seeing where other people are at and the stories that they are really playing out. Because one of the things that you'll have noticed, especially in this last few weeks, is the intensity to which people are trying to cling on to their specific story, and how that's impacting on the direct relationship that you may be having with them. So they may be more belligerent or stubborn or fixed than they've ever been, because their need to be right is the thing that's trying to give them some sense of safety. It's like, if I'm wrong and this all unravels, I'm literally going to unravel. So you have people kind of on the edge more than they've ever been, which is often these, ascension-like symptoms, or the moment before they're coming into a true spiritual awakening. And for those of you that are already kind of experiencing that and feel like you're further on the path spiritually, this is also a time where we're really starting to address what happens after that spiritual awakening. Where do you take that? Where is the transcendence from that point on? So your readiness to receive what that next download looks like and feels like is also being called out really strongly here. So your astrology card is Taurus, trust, patience, sensuality. Of course, Taurus now in the North Node, also the fellow sign that's ruled by Venus. And so, you have this kinship really in terms of a deeper understanding about how to work with Venus and how it impacts, on an energetic frequency, the way in which you see the world. So what you've gained through this rebirth period since 19th of December is so valuable, and it is part of this total renegotiation for you. Remember, you got to really sit down and pay attention and think about what happened, what was I reevaluating, what was going on for me during this period of time. But Taurus is also a fixed energy, and I feel like there is something that we want to get very clear and ground in through the course of February, so that you can start to realign to the magic no matter how far away you feel. It's almost like they're just saying, okay, let's just get this foundation in place, because Spirit are ready and waiting to give you this amplified kind of leapfrogging movement forward, okay? But you know what's best for you. You've got to be your own teacher this month, okay? Because you're reshaping things from the inside out. And that means that you can't allow too many people to come in and mess up with your energetic field. It's really not going to serve you. You're going to end up spending so much time energetically, in a state of trying to be on the back foot and clearing that you're going to get frustrated in terms of not feeling like you're getting as much done as you would have ordinarily. So your animal totem this month is the vulture spirit. Nothing is wasted. And you know, they have a bit of a bad rap, don't they, the vultures, in terms of being like that scavenger. But I like the idea here that we are absolutely squeezing every drop out of our experience right now. And that as we look, especially with Taurus energy, because part of this North Node is about the requirement on all of us to be much more thoughtful about sustainability and the way that we're living our life, how we're choosing to live our lives. And so this vulture may also indicate that there are areas in your life that you're like, I want to stop, you know, throwing things away. I want to stop being so mindless. And you know what's so important is as you orientate yourself towards that, towards taking care of Mother Earth in that way, it's going to automatically help you take better care of yourself and therefore better care of your relationships. It's going to make you value what you create a lot more. So there's less of this throwaway, you know, this throwaway society. And I think that's a really valuable lesson that you're starting to kind of integrate and pull much closer through the course of this month. And that's going to be really valuable for you, especially I feel for some of you that have been going through profound shifts with some of the important connections in your world, because it's really easy to just be very dismissive. And, you know, less so now we are wanting to avoid and disown and throw away and ghost and all of these, you know, there's much more of a sort of rising, opening sense of conscious connection, yeah, to say, okay, like let's face things, let's have these conversations. And you may be leading the charge on that. You might need to be a bit of the pioneer in this way. Remember, Athena in Aries is your 7th house. Yeah, so it's that mirror energy, especially on what's going on in important partnerships in your life. Okay, so this is a general reading for the month of February, Libra. I'm just going to invite you to think about a personal question that might not have come up in the main spread. All the decks I use are in the description and the comment section underneath, and you also might be interested in my personal goddess reports with all of these goddess asteroids shifting this month. So we take a look at your personal natal chart and give you some insight. You can find a link for that also down below. Okay, so I'm just going to clarify the 6 of Pentacles with the 9 of Swords here. We also have the Wheel of Fortune, 10 of Swords coming in there, 9 of Wands, a Star. I mean, there is to a degree a sense of, oh, there's another 10 of Wands there, a sense of finality to something this month. But that doesn't have to be a negative experience, you know. There may even be a secret part of you that feels quite relieved. So that's the Page of Cups coming in there with the Nymph of Cups. With the Spirit of Swords is the King of Swords. We've got the Hanged Man there with Meditation, Justice, and Death. That's the Hermit, 2 of Swords, and the Ace of Pentacles. We've got both your Libran energies showing up with Justice and the 2 of Swords this month. Okay, so this 3 of Swords coming in with the 8 of Swords, the 6 of Wands. Interesting. Page of Wands. Maybe to do with an announcement or something that goes public that actually has a bit of an impact on you. Five of Swords. Tower. Knight of Wands showing up again. We've got the Magician. Finally, Three of Cups. Okay, Libra, if you'd like to join me for the extended, it's a way to support my work so I can keep showing up with the free content every month, so I'm really grateful, and also just to give you more value and insight if this reading is resonating for you. I wish you beautiful blessings. I look forward to continuing this conversation if you're joining me. The link is in the description and the comment section. Otherwise, you have a great month ahead. Take good care of yourselves, and thanks for tuning in. I really value your support of my work.